At DSI, we've spent time researching and gaining a deeper understanding of what the term inclusive education means for learners with special educational needs and disabilities, and those within and working for education systems. Through interviews, discussions and debates with a whole host of stakeholders, we've started and are continuing to develop a campaign based on sharing key messages around the definition and implementation of inclusive education. We began by first identifying, then asking questions of stakeholders within education systems and recording their answers, views and opinions. Example questions: what is an inclusive education? What does it feel like? What are the barriers? Who does an inclusive education system benefit? What does mainstream mean? How can all learners be educated together? How can a dual system of mainstream and specialised work together better? How can teachers of the future be better prepared? How can inclusive education work for all children? Through listening to the responses of self-advocates, peers, parents, teaching staff, school leaders, student teachers, education professionals, lecturers and SEND experts from the UK and internationally, we can begin to describe the school climate for learners with special educational needs and disabilities. We've gone on to listen to the questions, concerns and suggestions from stakeholders, and these have formed the basis of this campaign. This campaign aims to get to the heart of reality. We have visited schools, worked in schools, watched lessons, read the international guidance, listened to teachers and leaders on the front line, and heard the voice of parents and self-advocates from the start, from various contexts and with differing viewpoints. It's our belief, in alignment with international guidance, that an ongoing transformation of education systems and cultural attitudes is required to realise a 21st century education for all children with or without special educational needs and disabilities. In other words, education systems and education practice that serves children with SEND will serve all children more effectively. Advocacy for the future is crucial, of course, but so is what's happening today, in or sometimes out of classrooms in schools and other education settings. This campaign hopes to begin scratching the surface of what can realistically be expected in schools today within the current system. How can teachers and school leaders include all learners? What mindset must be adopted by school staff, leaders and policymakers? What culture must schools cultivate to become inclusive? How can inclusive education benefit all children? And what is the cost of inclusive education? Inevitably, these questions and dozens more like them lead to more questions. Here is a great comparison to the process of including a learner with an intellectual or learning disability within their local mainstream setting alongside their neurotypical peers. There is no quick, easy solution that can be achieved by just a few. It must be undertaken and endorsed by the whole school community through a course of continual problem solving and adaptation. It's only when a culture of inclusion is created among all staff and children, appropriate time and resources have been allocated, and the individual is truly consulted and considered, that they will feel included. One of the UK project's aims is to engage with the next generation of teachers. On World Down Syndrome Day, we'll be hosting a free webinar for trainee and newly qualified teachers across the UK and abroad. Experts representing schools and universities, alongside SEND professionals, will discuss some of the key points of this campaign in plain, open-minded talk. The values of our discussions will align with DSI's education guidelines, the basis being inclusion for children and young people with SEND. Our discussions hope to move beyond the standard rhetoric of what is expected to how can the individual be considered. We hope that engagement with teachers and leaders of the future, alongside their lecturers, will promote an ongoing discussion about an inclusive mindset that can remain central to their daily practice. As our campaign evolves and develops over the coming months, we'll be speaking with larger and more powerful voices for SEND, education and disability advocacy. On the other hand, we'll continue to connect and build relationships with the people we aim to serve, children and young people with disabilities and their families. Phase 2 of this campaign will focus on questioning and challenging entrenched vocab and language in education and inclusion, while also amplifying the voices of parents and young people.